These images we are viewing are of the completed mural titled Mohawk Valley, Early St. Johnsville Pioneers, which was painted in oil on canvas in the classic Italian fresco style after months of extensive research by artist Jirayr Zorthian looking into the Mohawk Valley's history. It was installed on April 29, 1940, and is still up at its original location in the St. Johnsville, New York post office. The building, which is in the colonial revival style, was built in 1936 and was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1989. The mural portrays the non-native culture as prosperous, while the native Mohawk culture is shown undergoing a social and cultural demise as a result of trade and European influence. The overall theme of the mural represents the impact of European traders and immigrants on the Mohawk Valley and depicts 3 periods in its colonization, from arrival of the white fur trader up to the beginning of the Revolutionary War. On the left are shown the indigenous Mohawks, presenting a once flourishing, powerful race of people who regretfully have become the victims of progress through the symbolic use of traded furs and the consumption of alcohol. In the center is shown the friendly merging of 2 cultures representing the era in which the Palatine immigrants, who came from Germany to escape religious persecution, moved into their new territory. Standing center is the likeness of King Hendrik, a Mohawk chief and friend of the Palatine, who was given a European surname and title after being baptized. The stone castle in the background represents the structure known as the Indian Castle, where King Hendrik lived and kept the peace between the Indians and settlers. The Palatine were sympathetic to the plight of the Mohawk, as they had been persecuted in the same way. They came as settlers, not conquerors. One of the main objectives of establishing friendships with the Indians was the protection of their families, represented by the mother and child in the mural, who are caught in the middle. And on the far right is a scene familiar to settlement on the frontier, which shows a young couple surveying the ruins of what remained of their burned-out house following a raid. The Mohawk Valley was a contentious area, not only to the Mohawk people, but to those who lived in its proximity, as the Mohawk fought with French and British forces competing for the strategically located land base. Zorthian emphasized that he had painted the mural from an entirely symbolical point of view, rather than with any attempt to depict definite persons, places, or events. Although local citizens point out the names on the gravestone markers and other elements that they recognize as resembling actual persons and places, and the local St. Johnsville Enterprise and News described Zorthian as a master craftsman. But more than that, he has caught the spirit and atmosphere of the Mohawk Valley. The most positive outcome the Mohawk could hope for was coexistence. But in reality, they and other tribes couldn't fight back the westward advancement of European superpowers. Following the American Revolution and War of 1812, and as a result of being allied with the British, the Mohawk lost title to their lands in the Mohawk Valley and were forced to move into northern parts of the state and Canada. Today, the Mohawk are a thriving community, still struggling to balance their traditional social and governing structures with the demands of current-day economic pressures. Now, let's do a comparison between the restored mural study we've been looking at and the final mural that Jirayr Zorthian painted. You will notice that, though on first glance they appear to depict the same thing, they are quite different from each other. The one visual element that ties the two together is Jirayr's use of similar architecture to divide the interior scenes from the exterior ones. Both show an open front depiction of a log cabin with an Indian standing in the doorway. But the Indians are of different tribes, and the interaction between them is also quite different. Obviously, some changes were discussed and made for the final mural, but we can only speculate why Jirayr did such a detailed study rendering, which for the most part was not used. One possible clue is an article from 1939, which lists the names of artists which have been invited to submit preliminary studies of their decoration, for the chance to be awarded a commission to do one of 4 Albany area post offices. Could this detailed study possibly be Jirayr's submission to secure the job? He would definitely want to put his best foot forward and show that he was not only capable of depicting a mural scene in the style of the day, but also show off his incredible skills as a painter. We might never know, but we do know that he was awarded the W.P.A, or Works Project Administration, contract, on August 1, 1939, for $700. In today's dollars, it would be $13,700. It is highly unlikely that Jirayr would not have done at least another rendering before proceeding with the actual painting of the mural. But we have not, as yet, come across any drawings or other preliminary art depicting a closer version to the finished mural art. We hope you've enjoyed this look at the restoring and development of an historic W.P.A. mural. The Zorthian family would like to thank Phil Aguirre for his exceptional work on this project. For more information on Jirayr Zorthian, go to zorthianranch.com.